Okay, so in this quick tutorial, we will take a look at the definition of dangling modifiers. We will try and define some of the terms in that definition, and then we'll try to identify some examples of dangling modifiers so that you learn how to avoid these in your own writing. So, a dangling modifier is a phrase that is not modifying the noun or subject that the writer intends. So, what does this mean? So, let's take a look at some of the terms that are in this definition. A modifier is simply something that describes or modifies a noun. Now, the most common form of a modifier is an adjective because it does describe a noun in some way. But what we're looking for is something a little different. We're looking for a group of words, a phrase that describes or modifies this noun. All right, so again, we're looking for a group of words that are acting together. They're about the same topic, and they're describing or modifying a noun. But the problem is they're not modifying the noun or subject that the writer intends. Now, the most common form of a dangling modifier starts with a participle, and this form of a dangling modifier is actually called a dangling participle. So let's take a quick look at this definition so we have a full understanding of what we're trying to do. A participle is simply the progressive form of a verb, the ing form of a verb, often found at the beginning of a phrase. So let's take a look at some examples of participle phrases, and so we can have a better understanding of what we're dealing with. So here are some examples. We have the ing form of a verb, so these are all participles at the beginning of these phrases. And again, because in each example here, these words are about the same topic, they all have to do with the same thing, considering all of the options or regretting her decision. These are all examples of participle phrases. And the thing with a participle phrase is that it can become what's called a dangling modifier if it doesn't describe or modify the noun or subject that we intend. So let's take a look at some examples of what a dangling modifier actually looks like. So here we have one right here. So being sore after a long day, the crates were difficult to move. So we have the ing form of a verb, so we have the participle. We have a group of words that are about the same topic, so we know it's a phrase, right? Being sore after a long day. The problem comes from, in this example, comes from the fact that what is being described here or modified isn't really in the sentence. So being sore after a long day, the crates were difficult to move. The crates themselves aren't the thing that is sore. The problem is the construction of the sentence. The thing that is sore should be right here, right after this comma. So there are a lot of ways we can modify this, but we need to have the thing doing the action, the thing that is sore, immediately after this comma. So something like this would work. Being sore after a long day, he struggled to move the crates. Okay. So by doing this, we have changed this from a dangling modifier to a participle phrase, something that is appropriately describing the noun or subject that we intend. So let's take a look at one more example really quickly. Running frantically, the streets seemed much longer than he remembered. Okay, so let's take a look at this again to make sure it meets all these criteria. So if we look at the first two words here, we know this is an example of a participle phrase because we have our ing word here, our progressive form of the verb to run. We have a group of words together describing one thing. But again, this is still a dangling modifier because in this example, the thing being described is missing from this sentence. So we've edited the sentence and it no longer contains a dangling modifier. The thing doing the action, the thing running frantically, is now clearly visible in the sentence. So if you've been told that your writing contains dangling modifiers, you need to look for your participles. You need to look for those participle phrases at the beginning of the sentence, whether that's considering or dragging or regretting, and make sure that the thing doing this action that you've outlined in this participle phrase is clearly visible in the sentence, and it will probably be located immediately after that phrase. Okay, so that's the system, the approach you need to use to eliminate dangling modifiers from your work.